right, we're live. Cool. I'm live. I'm live.
And am I?
Yeah, you're live too.
Okay.
We can all be live. Yes. I'm the healthy. Happy, healthy, wealthy. And by the end, I hope to be all three. So for anybody watching online, we're just setting everything up. We're going to start momentarily. So, yeah. Hello out there.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome. You can, right there, you can just unplug one of those things. Yeah, just pull one of the little plates off. My name is Christopher Tolisano. Hello, world. Hello, hello. We will be, Daniel Barth, come on down. How about everybody coming down? This is Mr. Daniel Barth. He will be speaking on our happy part of the presentation. Hello.
Hi.
I am Christopher Tolisano. I'll be speaking on the healthy part of the presentation. And then Sandra Strickland will be speaking on the wealthy. So stick around for some awesome knowledge bombs, and everybody who is here will be giving away some takeaways, some take-home freebies. So we'll announce those when we get to our presentation. But I will let Daniel have the floor, and yeah, we look forward to teaching everybody some stuff. Cool. All right, bud.
Terrific. Would you mind closing those doors?
You got it.
All right, well, thank you for being here, and I'm going to be talking about the happy portion. So what time is it now?
Oh, let me start your...
I'm going to grab my worksheets that I'm going to be giving you as well.
6:15. All right, you're good to go. I got it for 25 minutes, so we'll buffer room.
Terrific, thank you. All right, so I'm talking about happiness and a couple of unique accesses to happiness. Now you can look up easily what the advantages are of being happy and having a positive mindset and creating happiness. There's a lot of programs out there that you can get involved with that will do that. There's stuff you can look up online, stuff you can do on your own. I highly recommend doing those. Today, what I'm going to talk about are some unique accesses to happiness that most people don't think about. And Christopher, will you help me figure out how to forward the slide?
Sometimes it just needs to be closer to the computer to remind it.
So again, and just to introduce myself, my name is Daniel Barth. I am the Make It Real coach. So I do performance effectiveness coaching, whether that's in your business to take your business forward, if it's if you're an entrepreneur and it's your personal business you want to take forward. I do work in sales. I also do work with people in their personal lives. One of the things I like to say when it comes to business coaching is everything for business is personal. So the things that actually you want to accomplish in your business, if you haven't already accomplished them, it's because it's something personal that's sitting there in your way. Like you don't know how to have, you don't know what you really want, or you don't know how to communicate what you really want, or you don't know how to hold people to account in a way they can receive for what you want. And on it goes. Or perhaps there's lightning rod personalities in your organization that you don't know how to deal with. There's 2 lightning rod personalities that are in every organization, and most people don't know how to deal with them. And oftentimes they are the boss. One's the boss and the other one's in accounting. I'll just tell you that right now. But I'm not here to talk about that. However, I do a lot of coaching in the business world as well. My coaching in that world is typically group workshop style corporate training, where we do worksheets. You're going to get a worksheet tonight. The tangible you're getting tonight is stuff that you can actually work with. So let's get into it. So Let me see if I can back up. Okay, so what are your dreams? So when we talk about happiness, I want you to just consider your dreams. So I just threw up some different pictures here of things that you might be in your dreams. Maybe you're here for a happy, healthy, wealthy workshop. Perhaps the wealthy is the part that is part of your dream. Or perhaps, there's an image of healthy. Or perhaps you've got dreams that have to do with family. Or perhaps one of these represents you. Maybe you want to be self-possessed like this guy up here. Or maybe you want to be a winner on top of the world like this. Or maybe you're a person of faith and you want to really take that forward. Okay, here's going to be the access to your happiness. The escapes that you find compelling. Now, this is signature material of my own that I've developed over the years. So my brand is Let's Make It Real Today. Let's take out of the fantasy space, let's take out of the world of our escapes the important elements of them. So I have some images up here of the kind of things that people often find compelling. Some people find social media compelling. My wife, every off moment she has, she loves TikTok. And man, that can be a rabbit hole. You can look up from TikTok and a couple hours have gone by. Anybody else done that besides me? Yeah, okay. Facebook can get me all hot and bothered, and I about the people I disagree with, and I can be like, yes, for the people I agree with, and next thing I know, back down the rabbit hole. And what was my escape has now become my trap. Now, this also works for gaming. Anybody ever played Call of Duty in here? Yep. Now, for me, and this is League of Legends, right now, the one that I find compelling is Supremacy 1914. I like Take Over the World games. Then these are to illustrate a couple of things. There may be some fitness you see here. There may also be, a lot of people look at images on the internet. Or some people actually go meet live versions of images, if you know what I mean. And so this is also stuff that people find compelling and they're drawn to it. Ever just click, and you can be stuck looking at all kinds of interesting things on the internet, shopping or people doing things in the bedroom, and that can be a trap. Now you're stuck there for hours. So a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't waste your time on Facebook. You shouldn't look at porn. Or you shouldn't play so much time, play your games for so long. Here's what I say. The reason you do that is inside of those things are important elements that you're not thinking about. Inside of the imagery, everything is symbolic. This is really my message of life. Everything is symbolic. Whatever you're thinking about or looking at with these or playing these, there's stuff that you find compelling in it. For example, you look at TikTok, you might be really tickled by people who are funny or people who are really clever. There's some clever stuff on there. Or maybe the ones that you're seeing, maybe you see people that are really just full of themselves and super self-assured, and you find that compelling. Maybe you find the people that have special knowledge about certain things really compelling. There's some history pieces that I've listened to everything they have, and as they explain some history. Fascinating. Whatever the elements are that you find compelling, we can lift those elements out of, I refer to all of this as the fantasy space. Facebook, you're not seeing real life. You're seeing some of it, but you're seeing a very, curated, thank you, version of those people's lives. But the pieces of it you're seeing are compelling. We lift, maybe you see a lot of family lovingness, and that really means something to you. What we can do, instead of you kind of worshiping it at the altar of those you see on Facebook, is lifting it out of that context and bringing it into your real life. Real stuff. if you're lost in any of this world where you're, drooling over folks or meeting up with them and doing a variety of things, perhaps inside of that, there's a desire for power or for surrender or for being somebody. So inside of those, we can lift those really important things out. Instead of saying, you shouldn't, great, well, maybe you do or don't want to do those things. But we can lift out of the context you find those important things, lift it out of there, bring it into real life and say, okay, what's a way you can actually have power? Like really, what's 1, 2, or 3 like easy things you could do that would like have you be the man you want to be or be the woman you want to be, the life you want to have, the family you want to be. And by then lifting it out of there, bringing it into real life, and then taking some of those easy actions, happiness comes. So this is a really important access. I work a lot with people in this arena. So I'd like you to consider, in a minute I'm going to give you the worksheet, what are the things that you find compelling? I could ask for volunteers, but that might get a little dicey depending on what things you find compelling. What are the things that you find compelling? I'm going to share one of mine. So on TikTok, the ones that catch me, this is a little vulnerable for me, the ones that catch me are these guys that think they're hot shit. Excuse my language. No, please, let flow. They're kind of full of themselves. The ones where they do the, what is it? You may not be ready for the day, but it can't always be night. And then they're shirtless and they look amazing. I'm just like, it's that, for me, it's not so much what they look like. It's just that they're so full of themselves that they just do that. It's that full of themselves kind of like arrogance that I find really compelling. So as I dig into that for myself, like, what's there for me in that? Well, funny enough, in my life, in my background, I've always been the guy who is supposed to be the good boy who sits down and kind of like, behaves himself. And so, and kind of lays low. Fly low and avoid the radar has really been kind of my vibe. But as I look at why do I always find these guys, and I kind of hate them and I kind of am like drawn to them, why do I find them so compelling? Because they own themselves. Now, I don't ever want to be necessarily that guy, but I don't need to worry about that because I will never be that guy. However, that kind of self-possession, owning myself and like showing up is what that symbolizes for me. So the question that I ask myself and that I'm coached in is, what are some ways I can show up? And show up big, and show up like you may not be ready for the day, but it can't always be night, and it off it comes, right? In a way that may not be physical, but in other ways. Being here tonight is one of those for me. It's like showing up and being like, here we go, bringing it. So for you, whatever the things that you find compelling, there's important pieces in there. Another way of putting it is, if the things you find compelling are like a piece of fruit, think of it as a piece of fruit. Maybe it's ripe, maybe it's overripe. But if you break through the rind and go through the messy drama of the pulpy part and get to the seeds, that's what we're going for. Get those seeds out of here and plant them in some good soil over here and grow a new tree that bears a different fruit. The horticultural metaphor isn't exactly consistent there, but bear some fruit that in real life of, in my case, self-possession and influence. In your case, it might be loving relationships or teaching or making a difference with the communities you care about. Or having your employees say, the best job I ever had started 20 years ago at Best Day Fitness. Or actually taking the steps to, if my dream is to like be big, perhaps that's a financial thing, and you're going to hear about what you can do with that. Like, okay, I don't actually have to be always struggling. And I look at the people that have the great stuff, and they look great, and they've had their teeth fixed, and they've done whatever they've done, and it took money to do that. But I'm not allowed to have money. Whatever you're not allowed to do in your little rule system, the background you come from and such, whatever you're not allowed to do but is important to you is hiding in these fantasy spaces. So I don't want to beat the dead horse. We want to pluck those out of the fantasy spaces. Still do the fantasy spaces all you want. I don't care. But let's make them good in real life. So that's one major access to happiness. Here's another one. Oh, I went one too far. Or I'm out of order. Let me see. Where am I? Bear with me a second. Where's the complaints? Oh. All right. I missed something that I thought I had. So another access to happiness. So here's the access to happiness, what I find compelling. So these are mine. I find powerful women and men compelling. I find arrogant guys, that's the ones that I was talking about. I find them compelling. And I find take over the world games compelling. Now, I've practiced this myself. I'm pulling out my desire to be influential and actually dominating out of the shadows where I hide, repress, and deny that I really want those things. Bring it out and say yes, and I own it. And when I own it, I can do it cleanly. I can actually become influential and powerful and take over the world. In my case, what that means is making my ideas prevail. So rather than let somebody else say, everything you want, you really just want to play these games, or you really want to just do these activities, you really just want to be a consumer on social media, I want my ideas to prevail, and they will prevail as I stand up and bring it. Answering the call of taking over the world that's hidden in my desire to play those games and be this guy in my way. And I'll never be that guy, so I don't need to worry about it. So the second one, the second access, is complaints. The things you complain about are an access to your happiness. How could that be? Well, whatever you complain about means underneath the thing you complain about. What's something you complain about, may I ask? Remind me your name? Lexi. Lexi, what's something you complain about in the world or in life?
I got one.
Yeah?
People not using their turn signals.
People not using their turn signals. Okay, great. Great.
I mean, I complain, but it causes accidents. And
Okay.
You get run over, and I feel like I need to complain about it.
You do. And so if you look at that, you can say, okay, well, what's unsatisfactory? So people don't use their turn. What's unsatisfactory about that? You just said it can cause accidents.
Kill people.
It can kill people. So what are you really committed to?
Making sure my wife does it.
So that's the surface version of it, making sure your wife does it. But actually what you're really committed to is your wife not getting killed or her killing anybody else. You're really committed to people's safety and well-being. Now, we could also say you're committed to the rule of law or something like that, but it's actually more heartfelt than that.
Yeah, no, I do my own little gray area law breaking on my own. But
Sure.
It's usually not things that's going to cause any harm.
Sure. So what you're committed to is people being okay and not being harmed. That's your commitment. So I don't know the answer to that one, but what are 3 easy things you could do regarding that complaint?
Well, the things I want to do would probably be shot, like follow the person and ask them why they use their turn signal.
Okay. But what are They always are. So what are 3 things you could do in the world of what you're committed to? So what we're doing is we're using this as an access point. The complaint is an access to happiness. So once you realize that people don't use their turn signals drive you crazy because it's unsatisfactory that they could put people in harm, what you're really committed to is people being okay or people being well or not harmed. In the world of this, like let's just set this aside, in the world of this, what you're really committed to, what are 3 easy things that you could do that would be along the lines of having people be okay and well?
I could sell my business and go to police academy and then just enforce the law myself.
You could do that.
Or I could just follow the police officer that didn't use his turn signal and ask him why he didn't.
You could do that.
Or I could take a bumper sticker and says, please use your turn signal.
You could. Now, check this out. You're staying on the topic of your complaint, which is fine. If we lay that aside and go for what you're really committed to, what are you actually committed to, then there's a whole world of things you could do that leaves turn signals behind. For me, for example, I hate meetings for the sake of meetings. I hate them. Yeah, huh? We go to a meeting, and similar to that is I hate being involved with institutions that exist only to keep themselves going. So if we're always like trying to generate more people because we're just trying to keep ourselves in existence, and I've been in a number of different settings where that's the case, and we forget what we're there for in the first place, we're just so busy trying to keep ourselves going. I hate that. So what's important, and I hate bad pruning on trees. Really do. I'm a horticulturist by my first life. What's unsatisfactory for meetings for the sake of meetings? It's a waste of time. What am I committed to? I'm committed to efficiency and things actually working. So now if I leave the meetings for the sake of meetings out of the equation and I go to what I'm really committed to, which is efficiency and things actually working, what's something I can do? I can do corporate trainings and teach people how to actually have more efficient meetings or how to have the conversations that go somewhere or how to actually have conversations with their partner that bring a conclusion to something that's been never ending, that doesn't work, to bring that to a completion or to bring it to something that actually does work. And I've worked with people that are on both sides of that. So the access for your complaint, would somebody else have a complaint that you're willing to put out? I've got 4 minutes left.
I hate when I say like good morning to someone and you get no response.
Okay.
Good afternoon or just
Yeah.
not being polite.
There you go. What's unsatisfactory about that is that they're not polite?
They're rude, yeah.
Is there anything else that's unsatisfactory about that for you?
It makes you feel like you may not be enough for that person or makes you feel less than.
Makes you feel less than, like maybe you're not enough for that person.
Right.
So this is great. So there's something you're committed to there. Perhaps would you like to give a stab at what's the thing you're really committed to that comes from?
Just making people feel comfortable no matter what.
Yeah.
Just
Feel comfortable no matter what.
be a human being, like
Yep.
interact with one another and be cordial and
Can I put a few words in your mouth?
certainly.
So I think one of the things that you're committed to is human dignity.
Yeah.
Is really people being valued just for being.
Correct.
And that's what you're committed to. Given that commitment, given that that's what you're about, we started with a complaint, but now we get what you're about is like people actually seeing one another, not being invisible to one another.
Correct.
Now it may start with you. I don't want to be invisible to you. But that comes from, like, you want human dignity and recognition and valuing of one another. That's important to you. So just starting there now, forget this part. What's 1, 2, or 3 easy things you can do that would up your game in experiencing human dignity and
Well,
creating it.
I don't allow those to discourage me from not going out and still being nice to other people, because there are still people out there that potentially feel the same way I do.
Yes.
And then,
And do you say good morning to them?
oh yeah,
Do you look them in the eye?
absolutely.
You recognize them as
I do, yeah.
human beings that
Good
you
morning,
value?
How you doing?
Yep.
Just strike up conversation rather than have that eerie, quiet,
Mm-hmm.
just.
So you're committed to more than human dignity. You're committed also to like connection and like a togetherness that
Yeah. Like a community somewhere.
a community. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's now that we've drilled down to what's important to you. There's all kinds of actions. You're already taking the actions to engage people and granting them recognition and dignity
Yeah,
and connection, letting your love kind of come out toward them.
for sure.
So I'm going to give you a worksheet, all of you, and I'm happy to answer these kinds of questions either afterwards or if you'd like to talk with me about setting aside a 30-minute, a 30-minute what you'd like to do with your future. That's the kind of coaching I do, both business and personal. As I just said, all business coaching is personal. I'm going to give you this worksheet. Fill out what do you find compelling, and it can be anything. Nothing freaks me out. Trust me. I've seen it all and worked with it all. I have, actually. And then what are your complaints? The ones that are like gripe you. And if you work the worksheet, and you may need a little hand-holding to do that, particularly this oftentimes, it's not a direct correlation. You have to kind of go listen into it. Come up with 3 easy things I could do, and maybe one that you will do. 3 easy things I could do based on my commitment here, and one that I will do. By taking those actions, you'll up your happiness right now. What will it take for you to do that is the next question. It may require, my time's up, it may require some hand-holding, it may require a kick in the butt. What I say is what I do with people is I hold you by the hand while I kick you in the butt to lead you to where your heart's already calling you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being present. And I'll be handing out this worksheet. And there is how you can reach me if you would like to. It's my name and my number. Website will be up and running in within the next month. You're welcome. And with that, Christopher, are you back, or shall I introduce our next presenter?
That's me. Hang on, let me get my PowerPoint.
So
set up.
coming up, we've dealt with happy now. We're now going to deal with healthy, and then we're going to finish up with wealthy, and then you're going to hang out, perhaps have a glass of wine, and ask us some more questions. Christopher's be with you momentarily. There you go. You're welcome.
We need intermission music.
Yeah.
Thank you. You have a better sense of what I do now?
It's really good.
Awesome.
All right, that's good.
You're welcome.
That's good. Let's see. All right, that's
Howdy,
live.
howdy. There we go.
you.
You're welcome.
Oh, take your mic off.
Okay.
Here, take your mic off. You're going to be talking. Hey, Misty joined. Oh, yay, it works. Hello, everyone. I am Christopher Tolisano, if you do not know me. If you're tuning in on the worldwide interwebs, my name is Christopher Tolisano. I am the owner of Best Day Fitness, and I'm going to be talking about hacking your fitness. And not just fitness, just hacking like your movement patterns throughout the day. How can we how can we burn some more calories throughout the day? Because we all know we consume way too many. So what are some ways that we can expend more of those calories? Before I go into that, I'll give you a little bit of my background so I can, so you guys can better understand where I'm coming from, where I got a lot of these ideas. My background is I played sports all my life, and I was going to go to school for engineering, and I got to calculus 2 or 3 or something. Then I had some shoulder issues and kind of all the perfect storm of things, and I ended up saying, screw engineering. I'm gonna go fix people, because I had worked with a trainer that taught me some easy fixes on my shoulder, and pain that I had for a year went away in a couple days. And I was like, wow, somebody's knowledge helped me fix myself. I want to do that. So I changed majors, got accepted at the University of Florida for athletic training, and worked with athletes at the collegiate level. Just had a great time learning about, if you don't know what an athletic trainer is, they're the guys that, the people that run out on the field when an athlete goes down. We have to do emergency care if they severely hurt themselves, like spinal cord injuries. And then once, if it's just like a normal injury, then we send them off to a doctor to get assessed or evaluated. Then the doctor usually sends them back up to us after surgery or just to start the rehab program. So we kind of cover all the bases. We're kind of jacks of all trades. So I got a well-rounded education in lots of different areas of the body, whether it's psychological, physical, nutritional, whatever, all the things. So that was athletic training. When I got out of school, I went to work in a little studio, and one of my first clients was a stroke survivor. And my boss at the time was like, hey, do you want to work with a stroke? And I was like, I've been working with 18-year-old athletes for the last 4 years. What am I supposed to do with somebody that can't walk and they had a stroke? He's like, well, whatever you can. If they can't walk, teach them how to walk. So that was kind of thrown right in the fire with neurotrauma. And I actually started getting a lot of referrals because I helped him a lot. I basically taught him how to walk after about 2 weeks. And then he started referring friends, and I started talking at TBI and traumatic brain injury support groups and stroke support groups. And then for about most of my first 6 years in the business, I would say 60, 70% of my clientele were stroke and traumatic brain injuries. On the side, I was also working with athletes, general population. But what I was really starting to, and this is why I'm going back to my background, what I really started noticing was how powerful the brain is. The brain is everything. It pulls all the strings. It's the conductor of this amazing orchestra that is our body. The heart beating, our liver processing things and metabolizing things, and our digestion, taking things in and putting things out and keeping us going from the day we take our first breath to the day we take our last breath. It's all controlled by this amazing network of nerves. It's just a bunch of nerves, all billions and trillions of neurons and synapses, all sending signals, receiving signals. It's amazing. And so when I saw what happens to when somebody has a traumatic brain injury, and what happens to their body, and how it's so crazy how you can lose the whole use of your body but relearn how to use it. Even though the trauma to the brain, if you do cadaver studies on somebody with a stroke, after they die and they do the cadaver studies, that part of the brain is damaged irreparably. It doesn't heal. Brain tissue doesn't heal like the rest of our body tissue does. The rest of the brain has to figure it out and kind of figure out how to move. So with, we call it neuromuscular education. With teaching people how to walk again with lots of repetitions, we can relearn how to walk again. So I kind of really started to see how powerful that can be, and then I started implementing it into general fitness, general rehab, and I just started noticing, hey, if I teach people how to move differently, work on the brain, then they're going to have a lot quicker response time, healing time, rehab time. And we have to look at our brain from our species. What is our brain meant to do? It's supposed to, A, keep us alive. How does it do that? It takes in all these calories. It tells the organism to eat, go find food, consume calories, and then process those calories, and then make eggs and sperm, because we like to procreate. That's what most species do. We have to, our main purpose on Earth is to have babies and continue having more humans and more humans. So that's what our brain is pretty much been designed to do over the eons. So our happiness, our pleasures, all our recreational activities, that's all fun and games. But the main thing is our brain is wired to keep us alive and be efficient at saving calories so that we can make more babies. And that's also a reason why we live so long. A lot of people tell me, oh, you use our ancestor analogy a lot. Well, our ancestors didn't live past 40. BS. Have you talked to one? We don't have a lot of evidence that says otherwise. Most hunter-gatherer cultures that still live like we did 10,000 years ago, most of their elders live into their 80s. And they live just as normal, or just like they did 10,000 years ago. So we're meant to live a long period of time. The reason we live longer, actually, the grandparents have a purpose in most cultures, and that's to help to raise the babies. So that the 15 to 30-year-old women can have more babies. So they can have a kid, grandparents can take care of them, the mother can then have another kid. Because if your mother's out there, you know how hard it is to take care of a kid by yourself. But then if you have the grandparents to help, now they have a purpose. Now the human species has a reason for increasing our lifespan. So that's a whole other topic for a different day. But moral of the story, that's what our brain does for us. And I'm going to get into what I call the conscious and subconscious interaction of what our brain, how our brain controls our muscles. We're getting this is Hack Your Fitness, not evolutionary history, but subconscious and conscious. So right now, what I want everybody to do is squeeze your butt cheeks together. Good, just clench them. All right, so that is a conscious recruitment. That is a voluntary recruitment or engagement of your muscles. So you're sitting there saying, oh, I'm squeezing my butt, I'm squeezing my butt. Chris told me to squeeze my butt. What is your brain saying right now?
When's it going to tell us to stop?
When's it going to tell me to stop? That is your subconscious. That is the millions of years of human evolution to get us to where we are and save calories. Let's go back to kind of our ancestors again. What did we not have 10,000 years ago that we have today? Everything. Access to lots of what?
Medicine.
Nutrients, food. So I can throw a rock and pretty much hit a restaurant right now, or a grocery store. Our ancestors didn't always have access to food. Oftentimes, we might have to go days. How long can a human live without food? Weeks. We're really good at surviving with no food because we've done it our entire existence. So our entire organism, our brain, is wired to be super efficient with the calories that we put in our body. That's why we have an obesity epidemic, because we have lots of food, and it's really comfortable to sit on your couch or in your desk chair, be a productive member of society, and not have to exert any energy at all. You can literally become a billionaire by doing this, sitting. So we're really good at saving calories. Our subconscious brain has perfected the art of being efficient at burning calories. So now that we have that knowledge, conscious recruitment. Who's still squeezing their butt? Oh, we got 2 people. Excellent.
It hurts.
It hurts. So there's a reason why it's uncomfortable to keep muscles engaged, because it's just not an efficient way to go through life. Our brain is our primal part of our brain. If you look at the brain stem, so you have your upper cortex, and then you have your brain stem, or your lower part of the brain, the brain stem. All that stuff tells us. The brain stem tells us to eat, tells us to have sex, tells us to basically all the primal things that we share with all other mammals, all other pretty much organisms, which is eat and breathe and procreate. So over time, the human brain has kind of evolved into the upper cortex, which is our language, communication centers, which a lot of other organisms, other than some mammals, don't have as much of a developed brain when it comes to that upper cortex. But moral of the story, consciously, we're not using our muscles because subconsciously, our brain is constantly telling us to turn muscles off. So if we look at that from a perspective of fitness, of movements, of just getting through your daily activities, everything we're doing, even if you're working out, your subconscious is trying to say, how can we work out more efficiently, how can we save calories during this workout? Case in point, if you've ever gone and start walking on the treadmill, running on the treadmill, let's say you do a mile every time you go to the gym. Does it get easier or harder? Easier. It gets easier. It's because our brain is figuring out the physics. It's figuring out, okay, if I swing my hips a little bit differently, if I swing my arms, use a little momentum, if I breathe a little deeper, we start kind of figuring out ways to make the movement more and more efficient. So after 10 times of doing that same mile, maybe you burned 50 calories the first time, now you're only burning 30 calories. So that's your brain has gotten so good at using all these different body systems, physics, gravity, momentum, friction, lots of different physics properties that allow our body to move easier each time we do something. So even when you're working out, your subconscious is telling your body, to your muscles to do as minimal as possible. So we have to, again, step in with our conscious voluntary recruitment patterns and tell certain muscles to work more often. So if you're lifting weights and you're going to do an arm workout, and this is very common, you go to the gym, you got a machine just for arms, and you're sitting there, you're spending 5 minutes on your arms, but 95% of your body is not working. Like, it's not doing anything. Why are you wasting your time? So you can have big arms so that you can attract a mate? Yeah, that's what we do. We're like, we want to attract a mate. We want to look sexy, right? So I get it. Like, there's definitely a natural drive to do that. But if you have an hour a week to work out or 2 hours a week to work out, why not work everything? Why not use all of this amazing body that we have? We're all athletes. We've all have an ability to survive in nature. And if you can survive in nature, you are an athlete. It might not be comfortable. It might not be the most fun thing you've ever done, but you can make it. Or just give up and die. But I'm sure most of us would probably try as hard as we could to survive, go find food. So we all have it ingrained in us to be efficient, to be survivor, to survive in nature. It's in our blood, it's in our genes. So conscious and subconscious. So think about that next time you go for a walk. And what am I going on this walk for? For mental clarity, for fitness, how about let's engage some muscles while you're walking. Let's just squeeze your butt while you're walking. Or let's flex your arms while you're walking. Start engaging more muscles consciously. Because again, unless you are consciously doing it, your subconscious is turning it off. So just remember that. It's super important. No matter what you do, conscious, subconscious, it never goes away till the last breath you take. So even if you routinely, habitually, or try to change your habits, as soon as you stop doing it for a day, your subconscious takes over the patterning again. So super important. So the brain, it controls everything. Hacking your fitness requires you to understand some of those basic principles of what the brain does, why the brain does what it does. That's why I'm really big on teaching people about that interaction, that subconscious-conscious interaction. Our body. We have this amazing thing. If you guys ever watch the Olympics, see some of the crazy shit that humans do? Like running, like Usain Bolt running like pitchers throwing 98, 100-mile-per-hour fastballs at like 63,000 degrees per second of angular velocity at your shoulder. Like, we're amazing creatures. We're amazing athletes. If you're training your body, and let's get into kind of the fitness component. If you're training your body, how can you train that's going to be the most effective at checking all the boxes? We want to be flexible. We want to be strong. We want to have good cardiovascular health so that we don't have a heart attack. We want to have good balance. We want to have good reaction time. These are all things that we need to address when we're going to the gym and working out. So how can we stimulate all those things? And what I have developed, and you guys can use this is just information. It's called the BEST method, and it basically checks all those boxes. When you're working out, you got half an hour to work out. You want to work all those things. Then work all those things. Don't go to the gym. If you're an athlete and you need to work on a movement pattern for your sport, that's one thing. But if you're just a general human, you're trying to get in shape, trying to be healthy, try to live longer, try to optimize your health, your brain function, your sleep patterns, and you're going to work out, why don't you do something that's using your whole body? Let's tap into our ancestors' DNA. What did we always have to do? We always had to survive. So I guarantee if you go back 10,000 years ago, there was nobody on a rowing machine doing 10,000 repetitions of anything or jumping up and down doing 30 plyometric squats. That was just a waste of their time. But we know that movement and exercise is good for us because most of us live sedentary lifestyles. So when we get the chance to go to the gym, we need to kind of start working, we need to check all those boxes. So when you're working out, what I would recommend is think like your ancestors or work out like your ancestors did. I like to do consistent variety. I like to mix it up because if you're surviving in nature, every day is different. One day you might have to walk up a mountain because there's some fruit on a tree up there. Another day you might have to walk over to the stream a mile away, catch some fish. Another day you might just have to build something. So every day is going to be different. So shouldn't your workout be the same? Kind of tap into that variety. Work different muscle patterns, movement patterns, work different muscles differently. Work on isometric holds and concentric holds and eccentrics and negatives and positives and balance, and mix it up constantly. Because if you're into these routine patterns, A, the subconscious is going to kick in. You're going to start getting more efficient at those movements. And B, you're going to burn less calories. So now you're just, C, potentially repeating patterns can also cause injuries. So there's a lot of reasons why that repetition of your workout program can be detrimental to your longevity. Because if you're injured, you're not moving. If you're not moving, then you have no purpose as a viable candidate to either have babies or raise babies. So all your DNA starts shortening, the telomere length starts going down, and you start aging rapidly. But if you're moving and constantly telling your brain, hey, I have a purpose, I'm doing stuff. If you're 18 years old or 80 years old, once you stop moving, you're going to start spiraling down. So we have this thing called sarcopenia. We'll kind of talk about some muscle physiology. Sarcopenia is when muscles break down over time. More than likely because lots of muscles burn lots of calories, and our subconscious is like, we don't need lots of calories. Let's wither that down because we need to be efficient. Have you ever looked at a bodybuilder or listened to a bodybuilder talk and asked them how much food they eat every day? Like, it's not an efficient way to go through life. You're burning calories, but it's very strenuous on our organism. But let me go back. So sarcopenia. If you're not engaging muscles, they are getting efficient by getting weaker, and this happens as we age. It happens quicker. So when we're 18, 20, 25, 30, this is like a slow decline. As we start getting older, it starts declining a lot more rapidly. So most importantly is if you're not doing something today, I actually just listened to this longevity doctor, and he made a great quote. He said, you have to train to be 85. I thought that was brilliant. Because if you're not doing something today to stave off that sarcopenia, your brain, you better believe your brain is trying to make you more efficient and start withering down those muscles. So every day you need to be doing something to stimulate movement, muscle growth, or muscle maintenance, more specifically, so that we can that natural sarcopenia cycle gets buffered or blunted so that we don't get weak as fast as we age. So super important philosophy, or component of what our muscles do over time. So we got sarcopenia, train to be 85, start moving every day. So what are some ways that you can get more active in your everyday lifestyle? If you're a sedentary average American that gets up, sits down to eat dinner or breakfast, drives to work in a car, well, maybe walk to your desk now after COVID, and then works all day behind a desk, goes to the gym, does a spin class in a seated position, then goes home, watches some Netflix, goes to sleep. That's not going to fly. You need to be finding ways to add more movement into your life. And here's the cool thing, you don't need to move to burn calories. Who's squeezing their butt? Nobody. Okay. So flexing your abs, excellent. So just understand the conscious and subconscious interaction will give you tools throughout your day. So we just talked about that one person's day. Let's shake that up. Okay, instead of going right to the breakfast table and eating, sitting down, I'm gonna go around the block. Just go for a walk. just wake up my brain, wake up my eyes, wake up my body. 5-minute walk. Doesn't even need to be a lot. It stimulates hormone production for waking you up. It stimulates, there's a whole, what's his name? I'll think of it. There's a neuroscientist, he calls it optical flow. Dr. Huberman. He says just getting out in the morning and walking and seeing things go by you as you're propelling yourself, this doesn't work in a car. Just moving. Biking actually works because you're moving. Propelling yourself forward, and as things go by your eyes, you get what's called optical flow. It basically starts everything out, like all your body's like, okay, it's time to get this day going. It's tapping into our hunter-gatherer ancestors. We're getting up, we're like looking around, is there any predators? Where's the food today? It's tapping into that natural primal patterning that we should be doing on a daily basis, but we don't. We sit down, we start opening, texting, typing, sitting all day. So just go for a 5-minute walk. It doesn't have to be a long walk. Just get things going. When you come back home, instead of sitting down making breakfast, stand up, make your breakfast, eat your breakfast standing. Maybe stand on one leg. Maybe do some squats while you're eating. Just start finding ways to integrate more conscious recruitment patterns into your daily activities. So you're going to work now. Instead of, okay, let's say we're working at home, get a recumbent bike, or a bike that you can sit and pedal, or some of those walking treadmills, or just stand at your countertop. And then just, nobody, if you're on a Zoom call, nobody can tell you're doing this. You might be moving a little bit, but probably nobody's gonna say anything. So there's kind of just, you gotta get creative with it. What's your lifestyle? How can you move more, engage more muscles, tell your body that, hey, I'm gonna recruit more muscles today, because if I don't, I'm not gonna make it to 85. So hack your fitness, find ways each day to engage more muscles. And so, okay, sorry, I went off. I started going ahead. Let me come back. I do that a lot. So we're at lunchtime. We're going to the gym now. Okay, so now we get a chance to actually go move. So what are we going to do? I'll kind of get back into that best method thing I was telling you about. Well, let's work on strengthening my whole body, because can anybody here climb a tree or like to climb trees? Cool. Can anybody do a pull-up? Okay, excellent. Cool. Most people cannot, because we don't climb trees anymore. All those muscles that help us pull up are the tree climbing muscles. When you were a kid, you could probably do it all day long. But because we haven't done that in 30 plus years, our subconscious has won. It didn't forget the movement pattern. You still have it, but it has got the muscles that are important for that movement have gotten very weak. So next time you try to do it, you're probably gonna pull one of those muscles, hurt something, injure yourself. So yeah, where was I going with that? I got off tangent. Best method. So use your body as like our ancestors would. Climb something, pull something, lift something up. So we call it functional movement. Using your whole body to move a weight, to pick up a weight, to be the weight, to basically, you don't need machines. You don't need complicated things to get a great workout. For example, with our best method, our first 4 exercises we do are one-legged squats. Anybody can do this. You just basically stand on one leg. You have doubled the workload of this leg instead of doing 2-legged squats, which are great on their own. But this one, a one-legged squat, if anybody wants to get up and try this, feel free. This is a great connection to your feet. Do it barefoot too, because best method does teach barefoot training, because we weren't born with shoes on. Most of our ancestors probably didn't have fancy footwear. If anything, they might have had a piece of leather on our feet. But most people that go barefoot, they toughen up the sole of their foot and actually create their own sole, like of the foot. Did you ever see that the dual survivalists, where the one guy was the Navy SEAL and the other guy was like the survivalist and walked around barefoot through the Serengeti? And the Navy SEAL guy's like, "You're crazy." And the survivalist guy was like walking through thorn beds and just walking on sharp rocks and like lava flows with sharp, super sharp rocks. And he was fine because he developed his own sole of his foot. But that's another tangent. Yeah, I went over. So one-legged squat. So it's a perfect example of using your whole body to work on strength. You're strengthening the leg. You're working on flexibility. The deeper you go, you're actually lengthening the muscles, but also lengthening the muscles to their limits. If you start going past that, your body's not ready for that. So as you get stronger, you can go deeper and work on more flexibility. Balance, that's one thing that if you're not working on balance daily, you are losing the ability to balance. Because as soon as you stop using it, your brain's like, ooh, winning, less muscles working. So working more muscles more often, balancing. You're working your core because your trunk's all over the place, having to balance. And then if you want to make it harder, grab something heavy. Grab a jug of milk. Put the jug of milk in your other hand. Whoa, my core's working. So easy ways to work lots of muscles. That's one of our first exercises. Second exercise, just do a push-up, or just just do this. If you can't get on the ground, do it on the wall. Can't do that, or if you can do that, go on a countertop. And just move your shoulder blades together. So that's a great one, because now we're working on posture, we're working on core, we're working everything. Everything in our body is working. All the exercises that we do work every muscle in the body. Because if you have a few hours a week to work out, knock them all out. Work all your muscles. Again, think about, as you're doing this, what muscles are turning off. Probably lots of them. If I'm doing a one-legged squat, if I'm not pulling my core and squeezing my butt, my subconscious says one. So even when you're doing some of our exercises, our subconscious is still winning. So you still need to understand that component of it. And then next one, we've got two-legged squats. Lift your arms up over your head. From a physics standpoint, if you do a two-legged squat and then you lift your arms over your head, now the weight of our arms is pulling us forward, so our back has to work and keep everything up. Now all my back muscles are working. Now when I'm done, I'm like, oh wow, I got a back workout. And all I did was stick my arms up. Then let's make it more fun. Let's get our arms up, do a squat, lift your calves, or lift your heels. Now we're going to balance. Now we can do all kinds of fun stuff from there. You can add equipment to that if you want to level it up. And then another great balance exercise, which is great for hamstring flexibility, great for core. See, I'm barely doing anything and I can hardly breathe. So I'm working my cardiovascular. Sorry, I meant to get to that. So my heart rate's up. So now a one-legged deadlift. There's a reason why this is a popular pose in yoga, because it's so effective at so many different things. Mostly balance and strengthening the leg, posture. But those are just 4 simple exercises that we integrate in everybody's first few sessions just to teach them how to use their own body. Burn more calories, work on balance, work on strength, work on flexibility, work on cardiovascular health, as you can tell. So just some simple things you can take with you. I'm going to be giving out some free workouts. If you want to give me your email address, I'll send you some free workouts. We base everything on 3 different communication techniques: posture, mobility, and strength. All of these exercises work on all 3, but sometimes it's good if you really want to focus on one of those components. Hearing how this is helping your posture is going to plant those seeds in your brain, which are going to help you improve faster. So we have a posture workout, a mobility workout, and a strength workout. So we have all 3 of those. I can send you a link over those. All of them are body weight, about 30-minute workout, about 10 exercises. And one of these days I'll recover. So yeah, imagine doing that for 30 minutes and then getting better at that. And what's really cool about our system is each time it's a new variation of all those exercises. Because again, it's all about variety. If you did one-legged squats every day, just like that, guess what? What's going to win?
Subconscious.
Very good. I said it enough. Everybody learned something. Cool. So any questions? I'm going to wrap it up now. That's basically everything. And then I will leave it to Sandra is coming up next. Thank you, guys. Thank you, sir. And video.